Welcome to this episode of Ask the Guitar Coach, the only podcast where you get answers to all your guitar-related questions. If you're interested in developing your guitar skills and reaching your music goals, please send me an email at the email address ioannis@ioannis.org. That is IOANNIS at IOANNIS.org, so that I can let you know about all the different packages of elite guitar coaching and how you can get private coaching by me. Without further ado, let's go to our question for the day. Is not having a tremolo limiting, or are there other ways to get the same sounds? So, in some styles of rock music, tremolo is used quite a lot. It's usually used as an effect. It's not so much that it's a really important part of the music creation process, but it is an effect that has a very specific sound, a specific timbre, so it does immediately scream to whoever listens to it, oh, this is rock guitar. And this is an important, this is a valuable thing, just getting this rock guitar vibe from one note or one sound. So I wouldn't say it's absolutely necessary, but it does have a specific sound that can be very useful. However, the most important thing is what you hear in your head. So if in your head the sound you have is very close to what Steve Vai is using or what Joe Satriani is using, and they're really using tremolo very heavily, then you should probably have a guitar with a tremolo bar, because if you don't have one, it's going to be difficult to recreate those sounds. But if you don't have some kind of crazy expectations on that front, then don't use a tremolo bar, because it's going to make some things much more difficult, like keeping in tune. It definitely changes the sound of the guitar, because now you get to have a different kind of connection between the guitar strings and the guitar body. Also, it might change the way you need to hold the pick and the way you pick, because now you have to accommodate the huge lock-in tremolo, provided you have a lock-in tremolo. So it's difficult to say, because you might, if you have several guitars, some of them should definitely have a tremolo bar, like a tremolo system and a tremolo bar. If you only have one guitar, then you need to make a more intelligent choice on whether you need it or not. Now, are there different ways to create the tremolo sounds without having a tremolo? For several of the effects, yes. Jake Lee did some masterful stuff on that front with his records with Ozzy, where he would play a harmonic and then detune the neck and repeat it back, and it sounded very, very good and very, very professional and everybody thought he was using a tremolo bar, and he didn't. However, in most cases, as I mentioned earlier, when someone is not using a tremolo bar, it's not because he hates the sound, but because of all the different upkeep that one has to perform to keep a tremolo bar in good working order. As I mentioned, the tuning, also strings tend to break much more easily. You have to set up the guitar more carefully and more often, so that the tremolo is not raised or lowered, and it changes the height of the strings. So all those things that you need to take care of if you have a tremolo. My suggestion is that if you are a beginner or intermediate guitarist, you get a guitar without a tremolo and a tremolo bar, and it's just a bridge there that everything is like screwed on or glued on in some cases. No need for tremolo. If you're an advanced player, then once again you have to see how this works with the music you hear in your head, and if you actually miss the sound of having a tremolo. Several times the tremolo has been used as a substitute for poor technique, for example, for vibrato. Personally, I don't think it's a good idea. I think one should, learn to use vibrato properly without a tremolo bar. But then again, there are other guitar players who are amazing at vibrato and bending, like people like Gary Moore, who have also done great work with a tremolo bar. So I'm trying to say there's not like one answer to this question. If there's something to keep from this video is, if you're a beginner, try to stay away from tremolos, and if you are not a beginner, just decide if you want this kind of sound in your music in relation to the difficulty it's going to have for you with the upkeep we mentioned, the tuning, the string breaking, all the setups and stuff. Let me touch on one more thing before we complete this video, and this has to do with how to recreate these sounds. And I already mentioned about Jake Lee using the tuning pegs to recreate some of the tremolo sounds, but it's very important to understand that there are similar pedals from several makers. I can't remember now the name of the specific pedal, but I know there's one from Digitech that creates pretty much the tremolo sound. So you can raise the pitch, you can lower the pitch, you can like totally detune the guitar by using this pedal. So there is also a way to create these sounds or several of these sounds without compromising your guitar. And this is usually especially for people who use Les Paul guitars that have a totally, straight bridge. It's glued on or bolted on, and there is no way to create the tremolo sound without totally messing up the guitar and going to luthier and installing a tremolo there. There's nothing easier in between that can be done. So for those people, using a pedal like that is an excellent choice to get kind of the best of both worlds, keeping their guitars intact and also having access to some or many of those tremolo sounds. So there you have it. I hope this was helpful and it clarified a few of those attributes of the tremolo, a few of those choices you might have, and I will see you on the next episode of Ask the Guitar Coach. Until then, keep sending me your questions and I'll do my best to answer them in future videos.